Welcome to Business Notes. I'm your host, Diane Bogino. Our guest today is Amy Daws, founder and principal of You Say Tomato, growing global leaders in healthy organizations. Do you need expert help in developing your talent? Amy has focused her entire career on her passion for helping people communicate and break down barriers that get in the way of high performance. Amy has worked in this area for 25 years and started her own firm 5 years ago, coaching and training leaders to do the best teamwork they can by building trust and healthy collaboration. Amy is an ICF professional certified coach who helps leaders make solid decisions and take their team to the next level. Amy, welcome to Business Notes and thank you for being on the show today.
Good morning, Diane. Thank you. I'm so glad to be here with you this morning.
Yes, it's exciting to see you, and I want to hear about the name of your company. So tell our audience about that.
Well, early in my career, I lived in Portugal and then Spain for 2 years. I then lived in London for 17 years and became a UK citizen. My years of navigating and helping other people navigate their new working environment in a new culture got me thinking about you say tomato, I say tomato, and how we humans navigate different communication styles in such different ways.
That's a great story. I like that. So, in your company, Amy, tell us what services you offer.
Absolutely. I offer leadership development programs tailored to the needs of the company, onboarding that is custom designed to help new hires understand the company values, goals, and culture, leadership coaching for conflict situations or personal leadership development and growth, and also team coaching for decision-making or improving effectiveness. And in all of these, I bring TTI success insights, assessments, which can look at behaviors, motivators, leadership skills, emotional intelligence, and other factors to help bring insights about how people fit together and bridge those you say tomato, I say tomato communication gaps.
And so our audience knows TTI is Target Training International, who distributes these tools that you use, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Give them a little love today, right?
Yes.
And Amy, what first got you interested in this kind of work? And
my first adult job was in Portugal and Spain, and then my second in London. So I grew up in the US, and both of those roles involved, of course, adapting to a new culture. Even in London as HR director, I didn't have enough influence to stop the damage that I could see leaders doing, often because of personality differences or communication style differences and misunderstandings. So I kept thinking there has to be a better way to lead an organization, meaning not top down telling people what to do and command and control structure, but a collaborative culture where people communicate clearly with each other and bring their differences as an addition to the good things that are being done, rather than have their differences suppressed because there's one or two people at the top who have a style they want to see consistently throughout. So I started reading about collaborative leadership and communication, which is also what my undergrad degree was in. And I never stopped doing that kind of reading. I ended up doing my master's in global leadership, which comes out of the School of Organizational Psychology rather than out of the School of Business. So very much looking at these differences we see in individuals and how they contribute to a different culture in an organization as a whole. So I became determined to grow what I call global leaders who can gain credibility in any culture, and also to grow healthy organizations that provide a context where people can thrive.
I'm getting two messages here, and one is that this communication dilemmas that we have are global, right? It's not just here in America.
Right.
And the fact that you can take your message and working through a platform like Zoom, for example, and serve other countries from right where you are and do it very well. Would I be correct in that?
Yes, that is correct. And I have clients in South America and Sweden, in Asia, and here in the States as well. So I'm delivering next week a leadership development program I'll be delivering it morning and afternoon. And the morning cohort is Europe and the East Coast of the United States, and the afternoon cohort is the West Coast and Asia. So yeah, it's great. Technology is wonderful.
Yes, yes, that's good. I hope you get some sleep that day. So, so Amy, what fields typically are your clients in or industries?
I've worked with people in a lot of different areas, including engineering, life sciences, chemistry, manufacturing. And I sort of list those separately and technology actually, because I find they have often a certain style and culture that's a little different from some of the other organizations I work with, like nonprofits and social work organizations, which are generally attract a different type of employee, and that affects the overall culture as well as the types of challenges that people are dealing with.
That is true. I've noticed that as well, that different industries do attract a particular behavioral style. So it isn't always that people are hiring people like themselves, because the interest factor is there for the type of work that's being done.
Yes, it's certainly not intentional.
Right.
And we do need certain traits that match certain areas of work. So it's finding the balance and bringing the awareness of what may be missing from the team that helps you be able to fill the gaps and have a more whole picture of what solutions may be available to whatever problem you're facing at the time. So I'll help people talk through the decisions that are really challenging them or really keeping them up at night. And we will look at making a decision that successfully integrates their personality traits and their personal values with the mission of the organization. So when they come out of having made that decision, they have a confidence and can back up and even justify to someone else, if need be, why that decision was consistent with the organization's values and mission, as well as their own sense of who they are.
Mm. So to that point, what is so special or unique about the way that you work with people?
Well, I don't give advice unless the client specifically asks for it and I think they actually need it. Most of the time, it's me listening, and I mean really listening. I like to say I listen between the lines. I listen for context. I hear what's not being said as well as what's being said by just asking questions and not allowing my own point of view to blind me to what might actually be going on for the individual. So very often people come with a challenge and they probably have most of the information they need, but there tends to be something that holds us back that may be more a bias we have, or an unconscious bias, or a worry or a hesitation or a lack of confidence or a desire not to hurt other people's feelings. And those things are lying under the surface, sort of keeping them from moving forward without them being aware quite what it is that's stopping them from moving forward. And so in our coaching sessions, we can bring those out into the open in a way that's very empowering to the client, because it's just by me asking the right kinds of questions that help them look inside themselves. I'm really facilitating their conversation with themselves, and they'll notice things and hear themselves say things out loud that bring them insight and make them realize, oh, I know what I want to do. So if they really do need advice or don't know what to do, I can point them in the right direction or answer a question and things like that. But I have a lot of faith and trust in their ability to think around the situation and problem solve. And I'm a thought partner thinking out loud with them and creating a safe space in which to explore maybe some things that they might not have said out loud to someone else.
Now, you have under your belt, you have international studies, you've got the travel that you've done, and the working in different places and countries. So what does that bring to the table in terms of you developing an organization's culture?
When you move to other countries and learn new languages, one of the things you get is a huge dose of humility. And I could give anecdotes, some of them humorous, about my adventures in that area. But with that huge dose of humility, you also end up having to do a lot of observing of other people, how people interact, how people respond in some cases in a way that you might think is dramatic or overly demonstrative, and then in other cultures in a very quiet way. And you start to see that the battles are the same under the surface, and our culture, our behavior, our strengths, weaknesses, what motivates us, those things are actually superficial. They're like the outer layers of an onion. And underneath at the core, we're all dealing with the same challenges, which tend to be things like needing to feel more confident. And some people have a lot of confidence in certain areas, but then in another area, they very much lack the confidence to show their authentic self. It can be also a way, a sense of communicating that feels good and comfortable to us, but when we work with this particular person, it somehow doesn't work, and we don't understand why. So these things happen in every culture, and I think through experiencing them to the nth degree in the way that I did by moving, learning a language, moving again, learning a language, that repetition of being dropped in at the deep end made me much more attuned to what might be going on under the surface for someone. So that is something I bring that gives me insight into what the person is experiencing or what the team is experiencing. And as I'm working with a team in team coaching, for example, I'll notice dynamics that might be unknown to the people in the room. Like, for example, a CEO who feels his directors are not fulfilling what he's asked them to do. But then I can perceive from them there might be something else going on, such as maybe they don't have clear enough instructions about what's desired, or maybe they're not resourced and equipped in the way that they need to be to carry out what's needed. So by noticing all the different points of view that might be in the room, I can ask questions that diplomatically encourage the individuals in the room to say out loud what the other person doesn't know.
Interesting. Just for the record, Amy, how many languages do you speak?
English, Portuguese, and Spanish.
Okay.
Spanish is my most fluent foreign language.
Okay, great. And can you share an example of a success story that you've had with the client?
Sure. I coached a leader who worked for a large international manufacturing corporation based in Asia. And he had an opportunity to get promoted, which in that culture involves going in front of the board and the board chair and all the other candidates for the job and having 30 seconds to present why you should be the one to be chosen for that promotion. So this client of mine had very bad memories of being in the boardroom with the board chair, who was a very intimidating character, to say the least. And as an introvert with that negative history with his chairman, he was extremely nervous, almost to the point of paralysis about facing this situation. We worked together during our sessions to address what held him back, to talk about introversion, to build his confidence in him being perfectly wonderful just the way he was, and to start to see the strengths of what that introversion brings and the ways that it functions somewhat as a superpower to enable him to do as well as he does at the level of detail that's needed in his type of work. So through meetings, discussion, some visualizations of how he was feeling at the time versus how he could imagine feeling in the future. So sort of raising that dial of his confidence. He got to the point where he felt ready, and he was ready in time to go in and participate in that interview. And he did get the promotion.
Great. Love that. And Amy, I think you have a giveaway for the audience today, a guide, 9 intelligent steps for leading in a culturally diverse landscape. Is that correct?
Yes, that is absolutely right. There's a link, I think, on the screen,
Yes.
Diane.
Yes.
And so you can go to my website and have a little look around there. If you'd like, sign up for the introductory free offer, which is this guide of intelligent steps. And please feel free to contact me through the website as well.
Great, great. Is that the best way? Or do you have email?
Yes. So my email address is on the website also, but it's amy@growinggloballeaders.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm very active on there. So
Yes.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Amy, you brought a lot for organizations to think about today in terms of culture and understanding the dynamics of not only the different behavioral styles, but the behavioral styles from different cultures. So it's becoming more and more important today because everyone's competition is not just your next door business, but it is global today. And I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Diane. I appreciate your time today too. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for watching Business Notes. We've been speaking with Amy Daws, founder and principal of You Say Tomato, growing global leaders and healthy organizations. I'm your host, Diane Bogino, bringing you business ideas you can bank on.